Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and wild forests, lived a young man named Eric. He was a simple farmer, content with his life, working the land and living a peaceful existence. Yet, despite his outward tranquility, a feeling of dissatisfaction had begun to take root in his heart. Eric knew he was meant for something more, but he couldn't bring himself to take the first step toward change. One cold winter morning, as Eric walked through the village square, he saw an old man sitting by the hearth of a small fire. His face was weathered with age, his hands gnarled, yet his eyes sparkled with wisdom. The old man had a presence about him that commanded attention, though he said nothing. People in the village had heard rumors of his travels and the knowledge he carried, but no one had ever dared to speak to him. Feeling an impulse he couldn't quite explain, Eric walked over to the man. "Excuse me, sir," he said. "I've heard stories of your wisdom. Can you teach me how to find what I'm truly meant to do?" The old man looked up, a slight smile playing at the corner of his lips. "I can teach you, but first you must answer a question. What is it that holds you back from changing?" Eric hesitated. He had never put his feelings into words before. "I don't know. I fear the unknown. What if I fail? What if I lose everything I've worked for?" The old man nodded knowingly. Fear is the greatest barrier to change, Eric. But it is also the very thing that will push you toward greatness if you can face it. He stood up slowly, brushing the snow from his cloak. "Come with me." Curious and unsure, Eric followed the old man through the village and into the woods, where the towering trees cast shadows even at midday. They walked for hours, deeper into the forest than Eric had ever ventured before. Eventually, they came to a clearing where a great stone stood in the center. The old man gestured toward it. "This stone represents your current life. It's sturdy, unmovable, just as you are right now. You've built your life around it, and it feels safe?" Eric nodded. "Yes, it's familiar. I've lived here for so long. But now," the old man interrupted, "it's time to move the stone. Change is the only way forward. And if you let your fear keep you where you are, you'll remain stuck forever." With that, the old man stepped aside and gestured for Eric to try moving the stone. At first, Eric hesitated, the stone feeling impossibly heavy. His hands trembled as he pushed against it. "It's too much," he muttered. "Try again," the old man urged, "but this time, don't think about the stone. Think about the future you want to create." Eric closed his eyes for a moment, focusing not on the heaviness of the stone, but on the possibilities beyond it. He imagined a life where he was no longer bound by fear, where he could take risks, follow his passions, and truly live the life he longed for. With renewed determination, Eric pushed harder. Slowly, the stone shifted. It was not easy, but it was possible. Sweat poured down his face as he gave everything he had, and finally, the stone moved. The old man watched silently, a proud smile on his face. "You see," he said softly, "change isn't easy, but it is always possible. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. You are capable of moving mountains if you have the courage to try." Eric stood, breathless but triumphant, looking at the stone he had moved. "I didn't think it was possible," he said, astonished by his own strength. "Now you know," the old man said. "The greatest barrier to change is not the challenges you face, but the fear inside you. You must embrace the unknown and have the courage to change, even when it feels impossible." From that day on, Eric lived with a new perspective. He left behind the safety of his old life and embarked on a journey of transformation, taking risks, facing challenges, and discovering his true purpose. He learned that change, though difficult, was a path to growth and fulfillment. His courage to step into the unknown led him to a life richer than he had ever imagined. With this story, we learn that the greatest obstacle to transformation is not the challenges we face, but the fear that holds us back. Only when we have the courage to confront our fears and embrace change can we truly unlock our potential and live the life we are meant to live. Change may be daunting, but it is also the key to growth, happiness, and success.